planned on presenting general information on the sales tax, things the board should consider, pros, cons, how it works, how much revenue, how much non-resident revenue, the kinds of things that it could be used for. So, you know, I'm hoping that that can inform the discussion, whether it takes place today or sometime in the future, on whether the board wants to do it or not.
And what are some of those financial reasons, you know, things that the sales tax might help out with?
Sure. I mean, right now, county taxpayers subsidize non-residents. So EAA generates, for instance, a ton of economic activity, but the county doesn't make any money. The airport costs us money. The sheriff's department, the highway department, we provide all these services that we subsidize for non-residents who come here. If they paid the sales tax, they would actually be generating revenue to pay for those services. About 20 to 30% of the sales tax comes from people that don't live in the county. You'd have the ability to lower property taxes as a result. You know, we've also seen the last few years the county has used general fund reserves to be able to balance the budget. You could use it to fund services. And part of it tonight is to say, you know, here are some options if you'd want to consider those. We're one of 2 counties that doesn't have it. But, you know, it's really a decision for the board to make.
Going off of the property taxes, what are some of those decreases that you might have?
Sure. Well, on the median home, which is like 290 something, it would be about a $249 tax cut if it all went to property taxes. A few meetings ago, we had a presentation on facility needs, as much as $350 million of new buildings. Now, I don't think we'll do that, but I know a lot of the questions from the board is, well, where would we get the money if we wanted to fund over 10 years or 20 years the bonding for a new courthouse, for instance? And so, you know, new revenue could come from the sales tax, and you'd still have money left over for property tax relief. There's just a lot of different options out there that could be considered. Again, the board, enough members requested information, and that's going to be a part of things. You know, in terms of the resolution that's before the board tonight, there may be a debate specifically on that. There might be a debate on, you know, whether or not a sales tax is a good idea at all. There are pros and cons.
Aren't you guys mandated, because you said it's an option, but aren't you mandated to have that sales tax be used to offset any property tax levies?
Yeah, so the law is a little different in that it, you know, it has to go towards things that would be paid for by the property tax. And most of the legal interpretations allow that to be, that funding to go towards things that would be funded by the property tax. So it effectively can be new spending. But it should, I think, it should start with property tax relief.
What are you hoping for long term?
I want the county to be in a sound financial position. We enter the budget with about a $14 million shortfall between what departments requested and the revenue we have available. We're working on whittling that down. I probably am not going to include the sales tax in my proposed budget, but there probably will be some use of fund balance. But we're trying to project into the future, what are the needs for the county 5 years down the road? And, you know, you want to be smart about it. I think you don't raise taxes for the sake of raising taxes, but if you have intent on what you're trying to accomplish, whether that's property tax relief, whether that's, you know, facilities maintenance, whether that's new bonding for, you know, properties, you know, you want to make sure you've got policy behind what you're doing. And I think that's something that the board needs to, you know, determine whether that's in the short term or sometime in the future.
And if I understand it correctly, the 0.5% is set in law, so you guys can't move that number around, right?
Correct. Okay. I think we could always get rid of it.
Sure.
You know, and I think Brown County added it, and then it was supposed to sunset, and then I think they decided to keep it, if I remember correctly, or do something else with it.
What are some of the other factors that you guys might amend from what's in the resolution right now?
I don't expect, you know, this resolution is specific, and it's not an ordinance, so if the resolution were to move forward tonight, it would simply instruct county staff to draft an ordinance, which would be taken up at a future meeting, which would then be the vote on an actual adoption of the sales tax. So I can't say what the board is going to decide tonight. My guess is there will be a broader discussion about the merits of a sales tax pros, cons, whether the timing's right, whether the needs are there. Again, I just want the board to be intentional about what they're doing and try to reach consensus one way or another.
So the resolution that would happen tonight, that would, or the vote would be to pass, you know, to write a resolution that involves sales tax, but it's not necessarily these specific measures that are in it. Is that correct?
The resolution calls for 30% of a sales tax to be shared with local municipalities within the county. That's the proposal, and it would instruct county staff to draft that ordinance. That ordinance would come up, I think, in October or something at a future meeting. That debate and deliberation and vote would then be on an actual adoption of a sales tax if it got that far. So this is sort of a proposal that is being floated in a non-traditional way. Usually you draft an ordinance and it goes to committee, and then it goes from committee to the full board. This was, drafted as a resolution directly to the board to consider.
You have, or would you categorize it as an issue with one of your supervisors taking to social media, kind of maybe misinforming their constituents with regards to what's going on tonight?
Yeah, I think it's really disappointing. It's important that people have good information. That's part of the reason I'm doing the PowerPoint presentation for general information, including pros and cons. But we've had some supervisors that have muddied the waters, unfortunately, have distorted what the vote is tonight, and my guess is there'll be a lot of uninformed people showing up speaking about something that's not happening. We have an obligation to provide good, clear information, and it's always disappointing when that doesn't happen, and I feel like they're taking advantage for political reasons, or maybe they just don't understand it.
What about those who may see that this is a knee-jerk reaction to Oshkosh's resolution, because about a month ago or so it was that Oshkosh kind of said that they were going to go past the county to, ask for state legislature to, enact their own sales tax?
I think Oshkosh has been talking about it for a while. Certainly some councilors have. We've had this plan for months, that we would have a discussion either around the budget or before the budget. I think Supervisor Fari's resolution is coming at the time, that we just happen to be doing a presentation for general information, and again, that became at the request of board members.
I guess one last question.
Yeah.
Let's say for argument's sake down the road in October, y'all do get past that. What then happens to Oshkosh's resolutions in a situation then obviously they can't charge a 0.5% sales tax as well?
Yeah, so I think what Oshkosh was, they, were trying to get the state to change the law to allow communities like Oshkosh to have the ability to have a half-cent option. As I understood it, they could also add a half-cent option.
Even if you
I think so, but I'm focused on the county right now, and Oshkosh can live to fight another day.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Anything else you wanted to share?
No, just that I'm always happy when people are engaged in the county. Usually taxes are one of the things that draw people in. I think there are good arguments for and against. But the reality is Winnebago County draws a lot of visitors, and the county pays for a lot of services, and we don't capture much revenue because we don't ask them to pay. 70 counties in the state, we pay that revenue for those services, and I just think that's something to consider.
Thank you, Gordon.
Can you talk about the EW campus update?
Yeah.
What do you got for that today?
Yeah, so our facilities study should be completed by the end of the month. That's something that wasn't done, where we'll have a better idea of what the condition for the campus is.